Hey guys, this is Zerno. This is the second video of the Eternal Daughter 100% tutorial. Uh, Picking up from where we left off last time, this is the bottom of Blue Mountain. To the right, on the floor right there, you can see your save points. When you're learning this game, you'll definitely want to save as often as possible. Let's go ahead and jump into it. These enemies here are ice cats. If you position yourself correctly, you can hit them multiple times with your shots, but it's kind of difficult to do. It's not important to get that green mana right there. The familiar has a mind of its own, so don't worry about it. For this fight here, if you do rapid fire correctly, you'll kill him quickly like this. If you mess it up, it'll take a little bit longer. See that cat right there? I hit him multiple times with each shot, and he died almost instantly. So just to explain what's going on right here, there's a icicle on the right side that I hit with two of these knives, and then it'll drop and open up an area to the right to where I get a scroll. And as you get more scrolls, the power of your shots increases, but also the length. They'll shoot further, and I think you get 4 of them. You get a vertical part to it, so you can kind of hit like around your feet and head at the same time. Here I position myself so you can see the green mana orb on the upper right, so the familiar will pick it up. So try and remember to do that. Anyway, back on to power scrolls. When you get 7 scrolls, you get like a little tip of lightning at the end of your attacks also, so it increases the range even further. So we're heading up here. There's a save point to the left right there. I would highly recommend getting it. But we're coming up here to Tonga City. What I do here is I jump into this area. Your height is saved when you transfer areas like this. And I shoot a knife into an enemy right there. You can see him dying right there. You'll see right here, I kind of messed this up in the video, but this bouncy thing, just to the right of it, there's a small corner you could land on. If you land on that, you'll save a little bit of time. I just kind of missed it. I usually mess up right there and hit something. I haven't decided on the best way to go through that area yet. So we just speed through underwater right here to get the stuff on top. So this boss is Helm. Let me pause it for a second. This distance is about where you want to be from him when you have 3 scrolls. You can hit him multiple times with each shot again, and you'll kill him pretty quickly. It's possible to kill him before he jumps a second time, and that's ideal. I don't quite get that this time. I have trouble. I messed up my rapid shots right there, and I don't get the right distance. But here, if I stop it in the right spot, right there, that's, you can see in the very middle of his model, that little part that's sticking out. That's how you know how far you need to be when you see that much of him. And you'll hear it right now, hitting him multiple times with each shot if you listen to it. And he has invincibility frames when his drill is sticking out also. And I skipped that cutscene right there. Went ahead and swapped back to knives because I used those on some enemies to help get out without taking too much damage. And hopefully a lot of this stuff is kind of self-explanatory, the movement things that I do to skip enemies and get through everything quickly, so I'm trying not to mention that stuff too much. These a lot of these enemies have a lot of RNG, like those guys that I've been killing with knives. They'll either shoot or fly down like that. You can kind of tell what they're going to do by how they move before they do their attack. But what I did right there, I swapped back to hammers, and hammers destroy these blue blocks. And then I went over here to the right, and that guy, I have to play hide and seek with him to get forward slide. He gives it to you. And that text is the only text of his that you can skip by pressing escape. The rest of it you need to press control, even if you swapped your controls around to use attack on something other than control. To go through text in the game, it's either escape to skip it or control to go through each text box. If you do press escape, you'll get the option to go back to the menu or to continue playing. So here upcoming is a important trick. So what I did just there was when I jumped up here, I immediately jumped again off the ground, and you want to do this as quickly as possible. So I'm going to try and show it to you as slowly as I can. See, now this guy is rolling to the right because I did it properly. If you do it too slow, he'll roll to the left and you'll lose time. So what I do is when I land on this save spot, I press up to bring up the save menu, and then he hits me. And now that he hits me, I can control myself again and move around. And as long as I don't press attack, it won't save the game, but the menu will stay up. And once I press attack, it will save, and anything I've done in this area will get saved. And when I load back into the game, I'll be back on this save point. So you come down here and fall into this plant, and it launches you up here. And we come over here and get wall jump, and then I press attack to save it. And as soon as after I press attack, I press F2 to load back to the game menu, and then I load into the slot again. So just a little bit of a tip right here is to tap left a little bit, and that'll activate the golem, and he'll roll towards you. And you just jump over him and go on. Again, we're playing hide and seek with this Gideon guy, and you can see I'm using the wall jump now when I can. It's more of an annoyance than it helps out though, but it is required to not only for 100% but to progress through the game. Right there, the fastest way to get up these once you have wall jump is to jump and wall jump off each of these small blocks towards the top of them. I just missed it when I did it here, but I can't remember if I do it later on in the run or not. I thought I'd mention it now. Saving now isn't as much as important because these guys die in 3 hits now instead of I think 4 like they did earlier. And you have a lot more health. And you can see more of the damage boosts I do here to get through these enemies quickly. And they're pretty simple. Again, position myself so that mana's on the right side of the screen there. So I finished hide and seek with that guy when I went up there with wall jump earlier, but I still don't have forward slide. You have to actually go back to where you originally met him to get it. And now we have forward slide, and that's typically faster than and easier to do than using backslide for movement. And then here I just use the familiar to get mana basically for this next area. You kind of want to jump before he gets it though. If you do that right, the way I just fell into this, you won't hit those tiny ledges at the top of the mine, but it's difficult to do. Now that I have double jump, I can just jump up there like that to skip everything. So here's a fun skip to do. If I can, okay, this is where you want to stand, and basically you just backslide off this, and once you're in the air, you hold right and jump in the air, and you'll see it. But this is the position you want to be in right here. See, now here we just wall jump and we get the scroll early. I don't think you're supposed to be able to get it until you have flights. Again, you can jump over this guy like where you're standing right now if you get enough speed, but it's kind of difficult. So what we do here is we just slide like that and just hold right, and then once you get hit that block I just came off of, that's when you jump and you get up here. You want to get up here as quickly as possible, because that apple right there on the screen will be further down. He'll slow you down. And again, a bunch of the enemies are kind of RNG on their positionings or their attacks and stuff. Like those slimes just there, the one that hit me, sometimes they'll be further right. And you won't get hit. So this boss coming up is the first difficult one. They're going to give you troubles. These worms that spawn off him, you can't hurt them while they're on his body. And they kind of spawn in random locations. So just try and keep an eye on them and not get hit. They do 2 damage, but it kind of adds up if you get bad luck or don't pay attention. But I had a pretty good fight here, so that's what it's supposed to look like, more or less. And just pay attention in that fight to the sound of bats. You can hear them before they come. And also in this section, make sure that you have at least 2 mana so you can get out. I'll show that in a minute when I get there. So that's why I pick up those 2 mana orbs, those, because I need it later and to make sure I can get out. Oh, nope, not there. Right here, these blocks here block you. So if you don't have any, if you have 0 or 1 mana, you can't get out. So don't make that mistake. If I'd done that correctly, I would have gotten under that guy, but I messed up. And now that we have wall jump, I have to be careful through this section, because when you jump up there, you'll often wall jump off those ledges, and it will lose you a bunch of time and maybe kill you if you don't have health. You can see, I almost did it. I messed up there at the end, but that's what it's mostly supposed to look like. So now that I have forward slide, we can slide under that and get that scroll. And this is the fastest place to get the mana with this familiar. If you do it right, he won't come all the way off the screen when you transition back to the screen with the mana on it. I think I only succeeded with that once. It's kind of tough to do. Also, I messed up with a whole bunch right here. So just bear with it for a minute. Things not to do. So go ahead and save here. That's important. Then we do this and run into that. And now here, and basically we just fell straight down. So we should have 9 hearts right now. Now, once you hit the bottom here, you can start charging your shots. And as soon as it's charged, you want to turn around, face those 2 fish, and kill them. And then we're going to kill the other one with hammers, and it should take 10, I believe, which is like 20 mana. I always use like 11 or 12 though, just to be sure. And as quickly as we can, we go get that heart. You'll see here I get it with 1 heart left. That's how close it takes, because you lose health once that blue bar goes down. That's how long you can hold your breath, and then you lose your health. And when we get that heart, our health refreshes, and we'll have 12 hearts, and then we can exit out without dying, hopefully, as long as you don't mess up and hit one of these spikes in the wall. And this is a new trick, kind of. It's basically the newest skip in the game, I believe. And I'd say it's like a minute and a half, I think, from the old route. I kind of messed up there. That ledge is kind of it's kind of short to get up enough speed to make it up to where the mana is right there. But we need mana for this next boss. It's one of the more difficult bosses in the game. And we use the hammers to make it faster and easier. So here, this guy on the left side is an NPC that we can save, and it increases the percentage of completion in the game, but we don't include it in 100% because it doesn't contribute anything. It's just kind of a waste of time, and there's like nowhere to mess up on it, and it's pointless. So we don't do that. You just end up wasting like 30 or 40 seconds. And these sections of the tower you'll have to practice at and get used to. these statues have a bit of RNG in them of like their timings, like from when you start the levels. So this is the boss that I was talking about, and you'll see that I use the hammers on these flies because you can't damage him until the flies are gone that are circling him. If you get on this side of him, between him and the wall, make sure you aren't against the wall, or else you might wall jump into him. I've died a couple times doing that before. That second fly right there, he'll either be low or high, and that time he was high, and I was hoping he was low, so that's why I hit him. What you can do here is once you get far enough in, like that, I just took some damage, and now I just dash through everything. The invincibility time after getting hit, you can pass through a bunch of stuff before you'll take damage again. So anyway, with this fight, you have to kind of knock out these two dogs, and once they're incapacitated, that guy will fall down from the ceiling on the left side. And if you stand in the left corner when he falls down from the ceiling, like his model doesn't do damage to you, and if you rapid fire quickly enough and don't mess it up, he will be stun locked, and you can kill him like that and end this fight really quickly. And you'll see exactly what that's supposed to look like here. And you can't fire too fast on these dogs, I don't think, or else your shots won't all register. For a lot of the enemies in the game, or I think pretty much all of them, if you have more than one, if you have a shot on their model, other shots won't register. If that makes sense. I didn't do this section perfectly, so you can see kind of the basic ideas of this section of the tower. But sometimes those fireballs you shoot will go straight across, sometimes they'll go up. So just try and damage him when you can, and try not to get too greedy. Sometimes he won't fly all the way across the screen for some reason, and you'll jump on him. There's not really much you can do about that. And you can jump off the left or right side. For some reason, the walls on the side that are supposed to block you don't go all the way up above the level. So what you could do is go up at the very top and get the mana up there. It's probably about as fast as coming down here to get it, unless you can do it perfectly and get it to where the familiar doesn't go all the way off the screen, which I think I only got one time again. Again, it's pretty tough to do. So now that we have this item that we got from the tower after the last fight, it's called the Mojak, we can do out of bounds. We can get out of bounds and do everything early now. So basically you'll see there, I don't know if that counted as one or two. I shot two, but they went in the same place. So I kind of got lucky that I was able to make it through this part. And you'll try and show you the positions of these. So that's where those go. To get this to enter the next area, you kind of, like once you're off the screen, you kind of have to wiggle back and forth. The loading zone doesn't extend very far past the edge of the screen. But also you can't hold right to enter it, or else you'll just you'll transition into the screen on the left, and then you'll instantly be back on the screen on the right. So you have to be careful about that. This one will probably take some practice. Those are good positions for those mojacks right there to get through the wall. And then once you are through this wall and you start falling, jump back to the left and just hold left until you get to the bottom. And then just walk off and you should make it back to where you're supposed to be. So go ahead and fill up on mana again. I stopped there just to make sure that guy wouldn't hit me when I was saving. So this boss, we basically skip. And then once you get this thing here, he despawns and the save point starts. So going up right now is the most difficult skip in the game, I feel. I kind of have a video on that already, but I'll explain it again. So when you're right here against this wall, you'll turn and hold right, and as soon as you press right, you start counting to try and find a timing that works for you. The timing that I do, I'll try and go along with what I do, because I'm watching a video right now, it's kind of hard. And I count to 3 seconds, and as soon as I get the 3 seconds, I press left, and I wait like a fraction of a second, and then I jump. And if you do that right, you should be under the level swimming. So 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000 left, jump, and that was it. I hope. So anyway, right here, there's a space between this wall where that plant is and this water where there's no water, and so if you don't do it right, you'll just fall down off the level because you have to be against the wall to hit the loading zone. So what you need to do is, when you're about right here, you fall down a bit so that you're at the bottom, and then you jump. You don't want to jump from up here at the top. And you can, the thing I use to see where I am are those ridges in the water up there where it's light blue and dark blue. Those ridges right there. So there you go. And then once you got that transition right there, what I did was I held down and I slid to the left, and then you'll get knocked to where you're supposed to be, and you'll fall down here so you can get in this area. You don't have to be quick about it. So this is where good places to put the mojacks are for the skip, and basically we're just going to fall down and hit the loading zone down here on the right. Now this thing here is half damage. The one that I got earlier from skipping the crab boss lets you breathe underwater, so you won't drown. But this one here is half damage, and it also makes your charge shots look like dragons. I don't know if it does any more damage or not, but it changed the animation of them. So if you watch carefully, you can see that, I think. but half damage is the main reason we get it, and because it's 100%. This part here, these Mojacks are kind of difficult to get into the right spots. And this seems to work right here. You'll definitely probably need some practice with this. So here, to do this boss quickly, instead of the normal way, we enter this wall, and it's hard to get the right position. The further out of the wall that you're sticking, I'm going to pause it for a second. The further out of the wall that you're sticking, the more often your shots will fire outside the wall. Because if they hit the wall, they won't fire, basically. So this position I'm in is okay. You can get, if you get it perfectly, every single one will fire, or it should. So what I'm doing right here is I'm aligning myself with the top of his model. You can also do it with the bottom of his model. And again, what I mentioned earlier with a lot of enemies, if you hit the edge of their hitbox, they will take multiple hits from your shots. So I'm using the top of his model right here. And a trick I use to not mess up at my rapid fire is I change my jump and attack to the same button. So you can see not all the shots are getting sent, but also they're all hitting him. The ones that do all hit him multiple times. So I think I could have saved like 10 seconds there if all of the shots fired. I'm just guessing. So we're gonna come up here and we're gonna do another save warp, like I did when I got the wall jump. And we're gonna come down here, and again being careful not to press attack. Let's take a damage boost right there to speed up my movements underwater. And now I save it, and I get that scale before I save it. And that lets us get up to, it opens an area later in the game where we get double mana. So you want to get the mana here. How much is up to you? Whatever you're comfortable with getting. I only got 40. There's a scroll underwater here that you can even get a bit earlier, but it's not in the 100% routes. Getting it without water breathing. It is in any percent route though. And oops, shit. What just happened? My apologies there, I misclicked. Anyway, that's what you want to do to get these Mojacks in. The top one is more difficult to get in, so try and put that one first. And the bottom one, you just have to be standing here. So, and then right here, you get kind of the basic idea. You want to stop just before the edge here, and then jump over the loading zone. And then once you're far enough down, you will hold left, and then try and do the double jump back into where you need to be, which is I messed up and hit the bottom of the loading zone right there. And you'd be like in this area, but on the other map, like above where I am right now. You'd be above here. So now I have to do more Mojacks to get up there. So this right here, what I'm doing is I'm holding right, or I was holding right. I'm no longer holding right now. And then as soon as I leave the screen and I'm below the map, I'll jump once and I should hit the loading zone, but I'll also be stuck in the wall. So, and then once you're stuck in the wall, you just slide to the left. And right there, make sure you slow down to a normal running speed before trying to hit the transition if you're going too fast or run past it. But also, when you transition, for most of these screens, you can jump right after the transition and you'll still be up on top of the out of bounds, basically. And if you fail that, you'll have to mojack back out to get up here. But you don't have to. You could go underwater and get around, but it's just slower. Anyway, this boss here is kind of difficult. It has that ball on the edge that goes around, and he will fly to random locations. You always want to be on his left side whenever he's going to fly around like this. If you go to the right side, he will fly at you. Sometimes he'll fly at you when you're on the left side, but it's only after this part right here, after he fires those things. Yeah, try to hit him as often as possible, and try to make him shoot those balls right there to the right, and he determines which way he shoots them by which side you're standing on right before he shoots them. Or you can do that and kind of jump right before he fires them. And see, sometimes he'll troll you and fly way up high like this, and you won't be able to hit him very often, or as much. And so now that we beat him, we get this mask for our familiar, which gives us the ability to fly. And ignore that, I just was bringing up W slit because it went away from my screen. Yeah, basically when you're flying now, you press up twice, or when you're in the air, you press up twice, and you will be flying. And again, I have half damage now, so things don't do as much anymore, and it rounds down. So if something were to only do 1 damage to you normally, you won't take any damage. You'll still get knocked back. And if they do like 3 damage, they'll only do 1, and so on. Back when I first started running this game, you can get this heart early with a lot of luck by wall jumping after double jumping into one of those leaves that fall down and getting it. But that was really RNG and wasted time in the route, so don't do that anymore. Anyway, make sure you come over here and save, and do a flying attack here. And try and get up here. We come up here, the only reason is to get a heart. Make sure that before doing that transition again that you slow down to a normal running speed, or else you'll run past the loading zone. So we just wait for him to fire. When his head's sticking out, we jump on his head, and there's a heart in his shell. I went back in to make sure I got it, but I didn't need to do that if I had been paying attention. You could tell because I had full health that I had gotten it after taking damage from hitting his head. And you can see just how much more damage my shots are doing now. Earlier it took like 5 or 6 shots to kill that plant dragon thing, whatever that is. So this is where we use the scale that I got underwater after beating the plant boss. Just fly up here, and it gets put in that statue, and the statue turns into a merman guy. These that enemy right there that just spawned and I killed can be really annoying, especially if he spawns inside of you. It's hard to get rid of. They do a lot of damage even with half damage. And right there, make sure that you jump up and to the left immediately, or else basically if anything that is on the screen that the familiar can pick up, he will prioritize picking it up before he picks up you. So health or mana, or things he's supposed to eat to grow, even though he's in his final form. Right there, make sure you go to the right a little bit to get the familiar on the screen so that he'll pick you up. And just wall jump off that right there to get that. And don't press escape right there, I did that on accident. And I jumped right before the transition right there just to make sure that one of the enemies wasn't below me. One of the heavy gunners will sometimes be right there. And even though I have 8 scrolls right now, those heavy gunners won't die in one hit, so try not to forget that. So here I jump up right there to make him fire that, and then I just fly over him. There's like a cooldown on that ability. And I always save there after opening that gate, just so that if I mess up right here and fall out of bounds and have to reset, I don't have to open it again. So that's what those mojacks will look like. And when you do this and get into this wall, be a little bit careful not to keep going left, because if you keep going left, you'll fall out and have to reset. And just keep jumping, and you'll keep climbing. And make sure you have hammers on to kill that guy. He can knock you out of the wall. And then just jump as quickly as possible to get up here. So the transition is coming up now. I fail it sort of here. If you do it right, when you transition and jump right afterwards, you'll stay up on top of the screen. You can avoid all the enemies in the next section. I almost get it, but oh well. It just takes practice. And I'm not too worried about taking damage here, even though I'm about to fight a boss. And here what you want to do is you want to fly across this gap. I just forgot that I was supposed to do that for some reason. So this is the garbage boss. And these piles of garbage that fall from the ceiling are random. And he will bring his head down and eat one of them. If you do it perfectly, you can one-cycle him. Like, you'll kill him right there. I got hit by a thing of garbage. You can get really unlucky this fight, and doing the flying attacks here, you won't get many hits on him. But I think I pretty much always kill him right there, or when he brings his head down the second time. So now we're going to get a power that activates machines for us. You can see in the background right there, the machine started turning on. And that's only useful for 2 places, and they're sort of 3, but we already got 1 heart that you're supposed to get that with. And they're both coming up in just a minute. One is for a heart right up here, and just kind of just damage boost through everything here, because you should have no problem surviving with half damage. You can skip that save because you're about to come right here and get this heart, and that gives you full health. And then you come up here and get this sub weapon, which is the sigil, and it does the most damage as far as I know, and it also costs like 4 mana each use. The funny thing is that it will sometimes turn enemies into like bunnies or something when it kills them, like tiny bunnies. So now I have all the hearts and all the scrolls. So now all that's left is the charge helm, which I'm about to get. The charge helm, when you press down while in the air, you'll do a flip, and you'll become invincible, and you'll do damage to things. So you'll see me use that in just a second here, when I'm leaving this Tonga City. And I think the route that I took there to get up there is the quickest way. And it's faster to jump off the ground and then get picked up than to keep flying, because jumping up vertically is faster than flying vertically. And make sure you have a decent amount of mana. There's 2 more Mojang skips, or maybe 3. So I kind of have issues right there. You can see, oops. Well, there's an invisible ledge right there that you can kind of stand on, so try not to forget about that if you get hit. But yeah, I had a bunch of trouble right there getting up, so let's try and be careful for this area, and you should be able to make it up without too much of an issue. And I had to jump a bit to make sure the familiar picked me up, but that thing I just got is the last sub weapon that I never even use. And we skip this guy with another one of these, and that's what the Mojang should look like. That's a pretty easy skip. So this right here, if you press escape to skip this text, for whatever reason, it will send you back to the game menu, and you'll have to load back into your last save. So make sure that when you get here, after doing that skip, that you do not press escape. You press control to go through this text. Saving there is important, you'll see why in just a second. So you can't be picked up while off screen, so and I jumped too far. So what it's supposed to look like is this. And you could, the ledge right there between the floor and that ledge, whatever, the distance is small enough that you can just go through it like that. So we just come over here, and right here, I paused it, but what we want to do, the ceiling here extends a little bit past the loading zone, and we don't want to go too fast, or else we won't be able to get back to the left to the loading zone. So we slow down, and you'll like hold right for like a second, and then hold left for like half a second, and then kind of keep doing that until you get into the loading zone. And if you start falling, make sure you hold left and try and jump also, and hope that you get into the loading zone. It's not difficult. It's just the first time you try and do this skip, if you don't know that, you will almost certainly mess it up, and fall down indefinitely. See, I hit almost the bottom of it, so that one was actually close. So this is Hume again, this guy. He's actually our half-brother, spoilers. But you find that out at the very beginning of the game, so it's not really a spoiler. I guess the fact that he dies is a spoiler, though. My bad. Anyway, but yeah, he was the guy in that mechanical outfit that we fought when we got the hammer. Let's go ahead and save it there and swap to the sigil, just in case it gets fired on accident or something. You'll at least use the one that does the most damage. And there's two strategies to fighting this boss. You can do what I'm doing here, which is to slide to the opposite ends of the arena and do rapid fire. And then when he gets close, you just wall jump and then charge Helm through him. Or you can just stand in one place and charge Helm repeatedly, and the invincibility is good enough. I'm going to pause it right here. Oh, and those two methods I just mentioned, I'm not sure, but I think the way that I did it is a little bit faster, but the other way is not too much slower. I think. So anyway, what I've been doing here is actually, let me back up just a second. After his first phase, like while it's dying, you can still move around, but you'll walk back. Eventually, it'll force you to walk back to a certain spot on the level. So if you go and stand in that spot or in that area, you'll save a good amount of time because you don't during the forced walk back. You don't walk very fast. It's kind of like after defeating a boss in like Mega Man X or something like that. So yeah. Anyway, basically once those guys came on the screen and I escaped their text, I start spamming up to start flying because you want to be picked up by the familiar right now as quickly as possible. So we're going to go ahead and go into it. I guess I'll explain a little bit more. There's two heads. You can kind of see them on the bottom right and left right now. They fire 3 different attacks. One of them homes in on you, and it's slow. One of them, it goes straight at you and it's fast. It's just like a line shot. And one of the attacks, which is I find the rarest that they do, but it's the one you want, is they'll shoot 3 balls at the same time, and they alternate. The right one shoots first, and then the left one, and they alternate like that. So let's go ahead and so I get picked up really fast right there because I'm spamming up, and then I come up here and I fly and attack that twice, and I attack his head as many times as possible. And there I just kind of messed up. His hands will come down sometimes, and when you see those particles like that, you'll want to spam charge Helm because that attack is unavoidable. And right there, that's where timing would be. As soon as the last hit is performed and his face falls off. But yeah, that's hopefully everything that's important to know. Wouldn't surprise me if I left some stuff out. There's a lot of small details. And you can turn the sound back on, the music back on now if you want to. In the game, it doesn't slow anything down because timing's over. But yeah, hopefully that is everything to help you get started doing a 100% run. The any percent run is pretty much exactly the same up until you get the Mojak. Once you have the Mojak, you go straight to the crystal boss fight. Well, actually, before that, you get the underwater scroll. That I got right before I went to the crystal boss fight in this run, which requires a bit of luck because the position of the fish are RNG. you have to get to the scroll without hitting a fish, and then you have to get back fast enough out of the water to not drown by hitting a fish and getting a damage boost. So anyway, but yeah, after that you get flights in any percent, and then you go straight to the final boss. Those are the only differences, and it's like 11 or 12 minutes of difference in time with all the extra stuff. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope this helps, and good luck to you.